Hello, true believers, and welcome back to another edition of BK's Bullets. As always, I am not your host, Brent Casina. My name is Jim Afanis, and from time to time, particularly when Brent is on vacation, I like to take over his channel and talk about whatever the hell I want to talk about. And today, I've got a whopper for you guys. You've seen it making the rounds. This is the big news regarding Batgirl and DC's nonsensical decision to axe a movie which was pretty much done. I will post a link to this article in the description below. This comes to us from The Guardian. While you're down there, do a couple favors for me. Number one, subscribe to this channel. Number two, subscribe to the Comics Timing Podcast YouTube channel. That's not a mouthful. Light on content, big on heart. It's Brent and Ian finally venturing into the wild unknown on YouTube. So do yourself a favor and sub and get ready for some great content that they will hopefully start delivering to the channel very, very soon. This article comes from Peter Bradshaw. Tax concerns axe Batgirl, but studios will suffer if they become too cynical. And basically what this is about is an analysis as to why DC made the very, very silly decision to dump a movie that was done. And I mean, yes, there might have been a little bit of special effects, the post-production, but by the time they dumped this movie, they had already sunk so much money into making it. That means hiring writers and producers and special effects dudes and sound effects dudes and the actors and actresses, and they filmed everything. They built the stages, they built the sets, the costumes, the list goes on. A lot of effort went into that. And this is because David Zaslav. He is the new CEO of the merged Warner Brothers Discovery conglomerate. And he pulled the plug on this $90 million effort in post-production. He says that it fell into a situation where the movie wasn't good enough for mainstream, but it was too much for the smaller streaming services. They call it the classic mid-budget nightmare that has been apparently a large Hollywood problem. It's a movie that didn't really justify any additional promotional costs to make it a national blockbuster like Top Gun or something that everybody wants to see in the theaters, but it also really didn't feel right to put it on the paltry streaming service that we know as HBO Max. Apparently he decided to shelve Batgirl for a tax write-down, calling its budget a dead loss to reduce the company's tax liability. And by that token, it would enhance profits greatly. A strategy that, of course, will be bolstered by this spectacular and much publicized failure. So this is where we are at. We are in a world where this guy hired somebody, or this company hired somebody to put together a film on Batgirl. And let's be real for a moment here. Nobody ever thought Batgirl would ever be as popular as a proper Batman film. And it really has nothing to do with sexism in Hollywood or the fact that it's a woman actor or a male actor, minority cast. It's just that Batman has so much more star power. I know there's a whole like Batman Incorporated, and it's like there's a bunch of other ancillary Bat people, like 19 Robins. There's like the real Robin, and then like the Red Hood Robin, Nightwing, or was that the real Robin? I don't know. This is what I mean. There's too many. He's got a kid. The kid. It's a whole thing. It's too much for people like me. You hear Batman, you're like, I know Bruce Wayne, a millionaire playboy, dresses up like a bat and kicks the absolute snot out of people. Sign me up. You hear Batgirl, you're like, oh, is that his daughter or like his cousin or like, where's Batman? That's who I want to see. So understanding that going into this situation, nobody ever thought this movie would be the next big thing. However, you can still release it. You can still make an event of it, and it could still be a fun watch. Will people go out of their house to the theater to see it? I don't know. I mean, me personally, I'm still taking all this COVID stuff pretty seriously. We don't go out a lot. We stay home. That doesn't mean everybody does, and it's a free choice. But, would this get me off my seat to go to the movie theater? Well, Top Gun didn't get me to do that, so I doubt this would. But I am an active member of HBO Max. Yeah, maybe I get it for free because I have AT&T fiber, but I would have paid for the service, and I was paying for the service, so just keep throwing it in the pile. We'll sort it out as fans. We'll figure out what's good and what's not good. I don't need the new CEO, Zaslav, to tell me what's good or not, especially if you've already bought in on the vision and already done the work. That's what doesn't make any sense. I mean, in a world where we release a re-release of a Zack Snyder cut movie where it's this Ultimate Justice League 17-hour boring as hell mega fest story. You throw that out there, let people decide if they like it. Why would you not do that with this? And why is DC now taking content away from their fans who are dying for content? I talked about this in my Arrowverse video, the video starring me. I talked about this in the Arrowverse video I did the other night. And I was saying that, you got to kind of build up an empire. You got to get it started somehow. You got to have a continuous story or characters that you could believe in and buy in. I'm not saying that Batgirl would be that character, but there are definitely ties to seemingly the same Harley Quinn actress we've had now for like 19 Batman movies, I feel like. You can start to build something, even if it's just a small cameo. It'd be like, oh, I know that person. Oh, they're in this movie. Oh, okay. They've talked about her before. She's involved, whatever. But they don't. DC, once again, misses the entire point. DC is more concerned with their bottom line, which, by the way, is probably trash. I don't know. I'm not a stock analyst. I don't see people running out to see DC stuff other than Joker, which was a phenomenal success, a movie I loved. I think many people love near and dearly. What has DC really put out in the last couple of years that's gotten everybody riled up? I mean, are they getting a drip feed of money from the failing comics industry? Sorry, I know. Listen, I like comics too, sorta. Is that what's keeping them afloat? Is it the animated stuff? Or is it the fact that they're leaning on big Warner Brother who owns pretty much everything else in the entire known universe, and they're just kind of riding along? Where are we at? What is the goal here? What is the vision here? Why is there no plan to fix this problem? It came up again at San Diego Comic-Con, the pain, the dismay, the frustration, the hurt feelings, the FOMO of DC fandom. And that to me is the lowest low. When it reaches my level, a guy who is so divorced from the comic industry that I'm hearing about how mad DC fans are, you got a problem. And I'm not saying Batgirl was the solution, but to be this vocal and be like, oh, it's just a business, we don't care. A lot of those Marvel movies that came out, and yes, I'm going to compare Marvel to DC because why wouldn't I? A lot of those Marvel movies that came out weren't that good. They were okay. I don't think people lost their mind over Ant-Man. Maybe it was a fun movie, but no one cares. But you know what? They tried. They kept putting ideas out there and seeing what took off, seeing what group of characters, people getting excited for these cameos, building a universe, building a persistent world in which other characters could coexist and pair up and do things and have their own movies. Why do we not have this in DC? Well, clearly because the CEO doesn't feel like it's profitable enough. Man, oh man. This is frustrating. I feel really bad. I know I ended my last video with this. I'm going to wrap this one up in the same way. I feel really bad for you DC guys. I don't know how easy it is to switch loyalty. I suspect a lot of you are reading Marvel stuff actively as well. But this company cannot get out of their own way. They cannot. They are fumbling across every possible measurable metric that DC right now is just absolutely, totally shitting the bed. I gotta say it's a hard look at some point. I'm not saying never read Batman again, but at this point, is all hope lost? Because I think so. Is this doom and gloom? I want to hear from you guys in the comments below. Like I said, while you're down there, subscribe to all this other wonderful content. I looked at Brent's schedule. He's got some more stuff posted for you later in the week with some other comic book reviews, and I'm sure they're fine and dandy, but your boy will be back one more time to wrap up Gym Week. Thank you all so much for watching. Take care of yourselves, and until next time, I will see you guys in the funny pages.